question really of how we're covering our expenses. It doesn't put us in a competitive or non-competitive position based on fee, I don't think, from what I'm seeing on the way these fellows are operating.
From their viewpoint, it doesn't, but it's, the town receives a $5,000 benefit is substantial to the town compared to that $500, and so.
In his time, it isn't just a, well, okay, put them
Yeah.
up, and then, okay,
That's
you're done,
right.
I'll inspect them.
Right.
Several trips.
Yeah.
So, really, we have to look at both ends of that deal.
Yeah.
And come up with something reasonable.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be reasonable, right?
No.
It can be what the town wants, but
No.
that's really all we were discussing was.
Well, we covered the worst culprit there in identifying the panels in the pilot. Because the panels really aren't real property, and some of these municipalities in the western part of the state really got the wood put to them.
Yes.
Pay big tax for 2 years and then get it all back.
Right.
So,
Right.
I think, wouldn't you agree, Joe, we're in pretty good shape there with what we've put in place?
Yeah.
Now, the fee is the only thing that we have to wrap up.
Yeah.
I do have a question though. Since they've already applied, formally applied, and we're going to be in the process, at what point must we give them the fee to pay before we approve it? Or not approve it? I mean, are we doing something wrong by not telling them what the cost is until we, because they're ready for, we're having the first hearing, right?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, we're not too far away from giving them a conditional approval.
Yeah, if they know up front how much the check has to be, because it does take them a while to cut the check. Monolith Solar came in just to do the second phase. Last year when they came in into the first phase, I think our permit was only like 75 bucks or something. This time, because the price went up, we got over $3,000 for this other permit, so, and they paid it. It took them a while to get the check was approved, but now they're setting up the second phase. So, and we're hoping to get.
Would it be safe for me to assume from the 3 different parties we talked to tonight, before next month's board meeting, we will have some models and examples that the board can consider to get this in place?
Yes.
Yeah, we can meet with Greg if he doesn't charge us.
So Cliff, the Monolith people took the $ per thousand model that we have currently on the,
Actually, they went with the Village of Sharon Springs, which was $6 for every 1,000 after the first 2.
okay. Wow, okay.
So, and they had, they had no problem. It took like a month for the check to be cut, and that's why it was so much slow for them to set it up.
Because we do have a solar fee for residential. I didn't know if that's what they used to come up with the.
No.
Okay.
We did not use ours. We used the commercial one out of Sharon Springs.
Okay.
We should use commercial. But yeah, we can get together. I have no problem with it. I love working with Greg. I know he'll get you out of jail.
Okay, Joe, did I interrupt your report, Joe, or do you have more?
No, that's fine. I just really, just a couple other things to add. Due to scheduling conflicts and people being out and in town, we've had difficulty with quorum in the past couple of months. So we actually had to move one of our public hearings that we had scheduled for the Abundant Acre Farm project. We actually had to bump it back to next Wednesday. We scheduled, and we also placed in the paper a public hearing for next Wednesday for that project. But we did it because there was going to be electric forum, so we had to pretty much move schedules around. So, but it's advertised in the paper, or we gave Linda the notice to put in the paper. So, and that's for next Wednesday. And we're hoping to meet up with the steering committee, get to meet up this coming month as well. Again, there's been a lot of scheduling conflicts to try and get together, so we're hoping next month the steering committee can get back together.
Any more questions for Joe? Okay, motion to accept his report.
I'll make that motion, we accept the planning board report.
Second?
Second by Chris. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. Okay, Board of Ethics.
New activity, we have received a complaint in, we are starting the investigation. We have meetings set up, interviews scheduled for next week. And we still have another complaint that we've had since this past January, that's with the BCI. They are still working through that. And so I don't have an update for the board on that one as of yet. As far as the report on financial disclosure, we did meet on that. Kristen was here. We reviewed it. I think all of us felt it was pretty lengthy for the board. And so what we've agreed to do is see what other towns are using, if they are even using a financial disclosure form, to get an idea of,
You're working on it.
yeah, so we're working through that.
Okay.
Okay, that's it.
Any other questions from the board for our ethics board? Okay, entertain a motion to accept the report.
So moved. I'll second it.
Okay, Hank, Sean with a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. Okay, supervisor's budget report. You all have the budget information, and you will also note the other pages that I handed out on the investment activity. Buying and T-bills returning to the town. You'll note the activity was quite substantial. It's tailed off some. Interest rates are receding, going down, which makes it more difficult to earn. And also, I have been quite conservative because I'm not sure when we're going to need quite a bit of that surplus. We have activity in the highway department that I would like to see brought to a conclusion. We have an grade-all that needs more repair than it does get work done, and every time they go to those people, it's $2,500, $3,000, and if the machine, if we want to sell it, what would you get for it, Artie?
$4,500,
I mean, we're dumping money we shouldn't be in that excavator. I would recommend, it's a board decision, but I would recommend we do something with that excavator before the first of the year. We have adequate funds appropriated in this year's budget to do that. Artie has been trying out alternatives. He said, what, you have one more machine you haven't been able to try?
Oh, yeah, there's at least one wire I'd like to try.
Okay,
If they're willing to bring a lot of try, I'm gonna try them.
I won't ask for a motion at this point. I don't want to back our highway superintendent into a corner. And we have discussed this quite a bit previously. The other thing that was on the table previously was the mowing machines. This issue is becoming more intense and more problematic. I notice now the state is dressing their guys in spacesuits when they want them to maintain weed-eating machines. And our guys are coming back with rashes. We just have to replace those mowing machines. Now, I would recommend them after the first of the year in next year's budget. And looking at the money flow and looking at what's going on, if our operation stays the same, we're okay. But we have another issue here. You see the two letters that I sent to the 2 incorporated municipalities within the town of Palatine. We are now plowing the streets for Nelliston and Palatine Bridge. No fee, no reimbursement, and they are incorporated villages in Montgomery County. You'll know, the town of St. Johnsville does not plow the village of St. Johnsville streets. The town of Minden does not plow the village of Fort Plain streets. The town of Canajoharie does not plow the village of Canajoharie streets. A long time ago, there were problems before our highway superintendent came along with the villages getting their streets plowed. 3 guys got together and decided that the town of Palatine would handle it. Well, frankly, we bought a 1-ton dump truck last year on an emergency basis because it was rotted out, the frame was broke. And now we find ourselves opening up bids on another 1-ton dump truck. And I ask questions about, do we need 2 1-ton dump trucks? And the answer that comes back is, those trucks are used in the villages. We don't need that second truck for the town of Palatine's operation. I sent these mayors letters just to ask them to sit down and talk about it with me. I made some phone calls to the state, and we're out there all by ourselves, all right? The town or the villages have even been demanding of our using pure salt and no sand. A load of salt's what, $2,000 now?
500.
And we're looking at 130,000 in trucks that has gone out. We hire part-time people during the winter to drive those trucks. All I wanted was some recognition and some agreement to pay a portion of what our expenses are. These people in the villages also are residents of the town of Palatine. I don't want to have their service deteriorate, but their boards have to agree to assume the costs that rightfully belong to the villages. I can't justify to somebody living out in Stone Arabia the cost and the taxes for plowing the village of Nelliston and Palatine Bridge. And according to some of the people I talked to at the state, it's against the law for us to take our trucks on other property that we don't own without having some kind of a contract. Voila, our contract with the county. All right, I would suggest some kind of agreement between the towns and the villages, somewhat like we have with the county to plow their roads. Exactly what that would entail and what the money would be, I don't know. I do know our highway superintendent has a good idea of what we're spending. It's very easy to come up with those numbers. But with 2 villages that are not of a mind to even discuss it, I would recommend to this board that we send them a letter saying we want to meet with them within 30 days, and under the present circumstances, we will discontinue plowing the villages at the beginning of the next budget cycle. See, our budget right now is geared to provide those services. And when it comes time to prepare the next budget, if we're short a truck and short several loads of salt and short payroll, we obviously can adjust taxes. I realize where we're going here is not completely popular with these people in the villages, but the other thing, Montgomery County now has a $100,000 grant they're working on to study consolidation of services in Montgomery County, and other counties are doing the same thing all across the state. And you know, every time we issue a check, every time we accept $1, the state knows what we're doing. We send that report to them monthly. My highway commissioner is not looking that great. His expenses are high. Now, is he spending a lot of money frivolously? No, he's doing streets and roads that we're not getting paid for and are not included in the report. So, long-term, we have to deal with this. Before some suit and tie in Albany says, municipality A, B, and C, you're now combined because these guys over here weren't doing a good job in handling the money. It's called misappropriation or misuse of taxpayers' funds. And that's exactly what we're doing right now. Does the board have any ideas or any comments on where this is going? I've discussed it with some of you.
I say we make we make a motion to send the two villages a formal letter to meet within 30 days. If they don't comply, then.
The advantage there is, it's not budget time yet. We can all adjust budgets now.
Exactly.
And if we buy another truck now that we don't need and they decide to hire a contractor to do it, we just spent $60,000 of our taxpayers' money for a truck we don't need. That's why I'm here now with this. And that's why I sent letters to these mayors to kind of try to break this in and see what their attitude is. The last time they hired contractors, they had an awful mess on their hands. And you know, since I've been sitting at this table, I haven't heard one complaint about the streets and roads in the villages. Not one. And it's not easy. And it takes different equipment than a town normally has. Artie has been telling me, in the small streets, small towns, you gotta have the small trucks. There's a lot of reasons for this, and you know, the state bookkeeping and the state law is set up the way that we should go. I'm not introducing anything here that's rocket science. It's the way it should be. But I'm afraid we have two municipalities that don't want to hear it.
They may not have a choice come the first of the year.
Well, the one has their own truck.
They bought a brand new
Oh, they
truck,
both have
They
two.
both got two brand new trucks.
but it goes in 10, 12 years. We put one in the salt, and it goes maybe 5 or 6 years. Go up to that town bar and look at what we have. Artie's saying that truck is wore out, and he's right. Now, maybe we can stretch it through the end of the year. But I don't want to spend money on a new one if we don't need it.
No, if we don't plow the village streets, we don't need another one-ton dump truck. But if we're gonna keep plowing them, we gotta have a truck.
Well, I have also heard we're going down there with blacktop once in a while.
Oh, yeah.
We have a highway superintendent, when he sees a need, he fills it. All right, it gets done.
Does it work?
Are we on discussion? Because there was a motion without a second there.
You make that a formal motion?
He made it a motion.
Yeah, I made it a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, so what would the letters say that we're gonna send? And who would be at the meeting, and what are we gonna ask them for at this meeting? It's great to have a meeting, but I'm trying to figure out what we're doing.
Well,
Okay.
Artie would cost it, and we try to recover those costs.
So what this motion would be is to send them a letter to have a meeting to get them to pay X number of dollars that it cost us to plow the roads.
Well, there have to be some negotiation.
Well, I'm just
but-
trying to, I'm trying to get this right to where, what we're doing and what we're gonna ask for. I mean, it's great to have a meeting and have a discussion, but.
The way I set the motion up is just, let's get them to the table and say, listen, we need to start recouping some of these costs and try to hash it out. Then we can come back with a number. We just gotta get them to the table first.
Okay.
Right now, it sounds like they don't even wanna hear it.
So Sean, what you're saying is we wanna have an introductory meeting to discuss our costs for maintaining maintenance on village roads. And by this meeting, we'd have some sort of cost analysis from Artie to present to them of what it's been costing us. Is that,
No, I just
We
wanna
just
get
want to
'em-
ask.
We just wanna get them to the table and ask.
Just an informal discussion.
okay, well, we went from that to, we wanna maybe drop this by the next budgetary cycle
Mhm.
if they don't wanna come up there. So I would think we've gotta do more than ask and come to the table. We have to present them to what our costs are and decide what kind of revenue sharing, make an approach for a revenue share.
Well,
we
they're
wanna
gonna, they're
get
gonna
back some
feel,
of the
they're
revenue.
gonna feel the pressure.
Well, that's what it sounds like
We are.
this is discussing like either pay up or we're done taking care of your roads.
That's an element of this.
I don't know if that's the way
The
to
main
approach
thing is to
it.
get them to the table to discuss the matter first.
Yeah,
That's all I'm asking is I made a motion to get them to the table to discuss the matter.
yeah.
Is there a second to that motion?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
by
Hank.
Hank.
Okay. Now we're discussing, and I think we want to get them to the table, and I don't want to make any demands, and I want to see what
Not
their
at first.
attitude is.
Yeah.
And we have to know whether we can put some money in that truck, number one. That's a large capital investment. And then we'll discuss from there as to what the expenses are.
We probably need to study what other towns are doing with that to show them.
I don't know as if there is, at least not in this county.
But, okay, but what I'm saying is that if the other towns are requiring the villages to pay up, wouldn't you wanna show?
No, that's what I'm saying, there's, in this
They're not
county,
doing
Hank,
Not in
like
this
you just
county.
said, and you go farther east, the village of Fonda has their own DPW, town of Mohawk don't do it.
If it's an incorporated village, they are responsible for maintenance of their streets. If it's an unincorporated village, it's included in the towns.
Right.
All right, I asked that question.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get what to me was the definitive answer, because if there's other towns out there doing the same thing we're doing, it doesn't show up in their papers. The only place it shows up is if somebody does the arithmetic and figures out how much cost per mile that municipality is spending. And you have to have towns
You
of
have to know their
like character.
miles. Yeah.
Yeah, there might be another town out there somewhere that's doing this, but I don't know where.
Just not in this county.
Okay, so you said, what you said was other towns in this county are not doing what we're doing.
Correct.
Correct.
I had it backward.
Village of Hagman takes care of their own, Village of Fort Johnson takes care of their own.
I would
I think
support an
that's it.
informational session only, and I believe we have to do it separate, because if the mayor wants to bring a trustee, it's gonna break the open meetings law for them, if they're together. So we're gonna have to meet separately, I believe, each one separately.
Well, first, we have a motion and we have a second. And we have discussion, but I haven't heard a firm plan on changing the motion or the second.
No, I think Sean's right. He's saying, get them to the table and see where they are with this.
And I would do that in open session.
And that would be discussion number one, and then the character of discussion number two flows from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Separate the villages if they look like they want different things, and we can continue a discussion.
Yeah.
I don't think this is gonna be a one discussion and it's done.
No.
Okay, it's a major change.
Yeah.
Frankly, I think the way to do it maybe would be to ask to be a speaker at each one of the village meetings and then explain to them what the problem is.
Nope.
Okay?
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Abstain.
Carried. Okay, I will send a letter out and send each one of you a copy. It will be Friday before that letter leaves.
So, let me get this motion correct. It's, Sean made the motion, Hank seconded, to send a formal letter to the villages asking them to meet with the town board for an informal discussion about maintaining of the village streets.
Snow removal.
Snow removal and
snow-
sanding,
Snow and ice control.
not street
No,
Snow and
maintenance.
ice control. Snow and ice control.
Snow and ice control.
No, I would ask you, when would be a good time to have a meeting here that we're not interfering with someone else?
Monday nights are good, Tuesday nights, are iffy, not the second Tuesday of the month.
Okay, so if I tell them on a Monday, a week from when I send the letter,
Yep.
okay. I didn't expect it to be pleasant, but the next thing on our agenda is opening the bids on that 1-ton dump truck.
Do we need to table it?
I would suggest tabling it at least until we know what's going on
My,
in the village.
my only thing is, I suggest we open them because
Yes.
that has a piggyback clause into it.
let's open the bids, and then we can table it after we open it. And it's a shame, I think it's a nice opportunity to buy the vehicle, but if indeed our operation doesn't warrant it, we don't buy no vehicle.
Linda, how many bidders were there?
It's like
Two packages,
Thank you.
and I won't know what they are until I get them out.
No, I'm just asking how many bids.
All right, this was from T&T Body King. To furnish and install a dump body with 12-inch sides and 20-inch tailgate, hoist with cabin controls, 1/4 cab shield, 8 inches channel long stills, 90 inches overall body width, sides and tailgate, with outpost, body raise kit and back alarm kit, hitch plate with 2-inch receiver tube, D's and 7 poles RV plug, all necessary lighting and reflection, Fisher 9-foot 6-inch extreme V2 stainless steel snow plow, handheld controls, plow lights and directionals, $17,455. And there's a bunch of specs here on it, it has pictures of this too. And this is from White Allen Chevrolet. And this is for a Chevrolet Silverado, 219 newer, or newer, unused, 3500 series 4-wheel drive cabin chassis. And,
Last page should be the numbers. Should be a
Right
price.
here?
Yeah, there's a
That one?
price if we pick it up, and there's a delivery price.
okay, bid price at FOB dealership is $40,640. And the optional delivery to the township would be $41,540, which is a $900 delivery, fee to deliver it to the township.
58.
That's in Ohio?
Yeah, Dayton, Ohio. What's that?
What's the other one located?
That's the only one. There's only 3 trucks available in the United States. And the reason there's a piggyback clause on that, Town of Root wants to buy the same exact truck. So,
Sorry to put the
no, that's
kibosh in
no.
your deal here, but you understand.
No,
where the-
that's why I brought it up to you, about us plowing the villages. Because if we don't plow the villages, we don't need that truck. You know, it's not that, I wanna put a truck in the garage, we don't need it if we don't plow it.
See, another reason I wanted to kind of push it into this deal, we probably have an employee that will retire within 2 years or 3 years. And if we ramp down our highway garage, it would be a lot easier for us to show us a good solid tax reduction for the villages to pick up, you know, their portion. It would be a lot easier transition, and the villages also would get a chance to gauge what it costs. It's been so long since they've done it. I don't think they have any idea the costs involved.